And we'll pop into the game. This is a Dionysian versus Genie. It's the winner's bracket semi-final. These are the two remaining undefeated teams all the way through. The winner is going to go straight into the final game for a shot at the championship. The loser gets one more chance. They'll get bumped down into the loser's bracket final. But both of these coaches have guaranteed themselves at best, at worst, a third place finish, which is something like $30 in cash prize. But there's still more to play for, and we'll be seeing that. We should switch the view. It looks like Dionysian is going to start on offense, and the High Elves are going with the old offset line of guys kind of scattered around. We'll go skills. Earned only. That's probably fine. Dio, of course, being careful about the old offset line of scrimmage. We did see one of these setups earlier lead into a short kick over, well, let this happen first. This is high kick, that's fine. We saw a short kick somewhere around here and a blitz. That can be pretty dangerous against an elf team if you're not prepared for it. Dionysian, of course, is. And he's just going to carry on War Dancer. Probably. The shallow kick can be a little dangerous, but it's far enough to the left side of the field where defense can't really get around, and they can't really get through, so it's all right to take some blocks first. You do want most of your players out and around here, so it's fine. Other line of scrimmage blocks are going to be with wrestle guys. So, yeah, you want to put that off. Because if you do need to wrestle, you don't want your cage corner types on the ground. You can help it. Instead, you just prefer to have them roll some pows. Good evening, Mr. Tom Schnizzle, 6'5". Seems like not the score you would bet on if you had made yourself a little trip to Vegas and if they were covering this. I think Dio will be a little careful. He's not really going to be in a hurry to score. Genie is likely, if he gets half a chance, to try and use his leap men to get at the ball. There's really no way to do it from here because we're pretty well covered. But the High Elves do have two leap players. They're basically shitty war dancers. One's got guard, and the other's got excuse me, the other one's got wrestle tackle. So we've seen him before use this man to leap and provide an assist for this man to leap and hit the ball. You'd have to, well, you can't even really bring guys down to mark a player like here. This guy might be able to try it. This guy certainly could because he's fast. And you need to cancel a whole bunch of things over here. The Wood Elves have no guard at all, so math is pretty easy at least. You just need to stand next to everybody and then leap in. This doesn't feel like the time to try it. But keep your eyes open, and I think you'll see it sooner rather than later. For now, I would just take this guy who's kind of exposed a little bit in the front. Blitzing for attrition, not quite as promising. The High Elves did not take anybody with Mighty Blow or any sort of kill skills beyond things like guard and tackle, which kind of are kill skills. Has he not even blitzed? Yep, here he goes. 2 seconds left. Got to get that in. knocking that guy down means you're free to stand up and maybe move somewhere. Don't know if these guys will stand up and dodge away or if they'll just stay on the ground. Either one is fine, and you may just run out of time and not be able to do anything with them. And not doing anything would have been the superior outcome. But I'm not one to try and play results. Dio with not much to do, I guess. Hit somebody with Mighty Blow. That's a high value target. Looks like that's the man he's lining up. Maybe shift a little bit to the center and just kind of shuffle your guys in circles. That dude is pretty marvelous. And it's interesting that he's pushing off to the sideline pretty heavily. Maybe just hoping to get high elves out of position a little bit. In general, I'd probably rather be caged over here, but I guess you can go back later. Not in a hurry. Dio will want to stall this as long as he can. He's not the type to go for a 6-0 win, especially when it's res and no progression. Trading blitzes is probably pretty even. Wood Elves are armor 7, but they've got Mighty Blow, so it kind of balances out. That's a good question. There were 2 High Elf teams in the 16 team field, and both are still here. Meanwhile, 6 human teams, all 6 were eliminated. The final 4 is this Wood Elf team, 2 High Elves, and a Necro team. Pretty confident not much collusion was happening. First of all, it's an invitational tournament, so we're not going to invite people that we know have a history of cheating. And second of all, I mean, why would you bother? I mean, there is money on the line, so that can tempt some people into indiscretions, but I don't think. So yeah, it looks like this turn you're gonna blitz someone like this. This guy, whatever. Either way, you'll get assistant for another block up here somewhere with this man. But you won't be able to clear both of these guys. So Dio has to make a choice about where he wants to move the ball to. He's got 4 cage corners right here, and he's just going to walk into that. Yeah, that's fine. The leader is also a good man to protect. You only have 2 rerolls without him. You haven't used your leader reroll yet, so you don't want him to die, and you definitely want to have 3 rerolls for the second half as well. Yeah, Dio's got 1 double on his whole team. That's totally allowed. Now the High Elves have 2. All Team building rules were such that let's see, there were 5 tiers of teams rather than the more common 3. I think Wood Elves were probably tier 2, and High Elves were definitely tier 4. So there was a gap of 100 TV or so advantage to the High Elves to counter the fact that Wood Elves are just better. So far, and Genie's choice to not take any mighty blow is working out fine because he's just removing elves anyway. Dio has lost 2 KOs instead of nothing. The elves are, well, the high elves are just going to get a couple of blocks and then, oh. And he's thinking about it. I'm not sure I would re-roll that, but I think you can afford to. Right, you can be a little more liberal. It's an overtime format. You can be a little more liberal in the first half with your rerolls, and in the second, especially when you're on defense. I don't know if you're planning to save them for either a 1 turn or some sort of crazy leap sack attempt, or maybe both. It would definitely be nice to not have had to use one there. But you never know if you might not need them later. Yeah, the team building rules for this tournament were tweaked pretty heavily to discourage people from playing dwarfs and chorfs. Not because we think it's bad or or we're trying to be fair to everybody and get balance. It's just just to shake things up a little bit. We did see a good number of dwarfs play in the first 2 tournaments. They're a natural choice. They're pretty strong at low TV. And you can sort of harp derp and just block everybody. And when you only have 1 minute to think about things, it's tempting to play a team that you think you can run on mostly instinct. So Gdanik changed the rules up a little bit. There's a tier 1 teams are dwarfs and chorfs, and that was it. And the other traditional, really strong low TV NAF type tier 1 teams are all in a tier 2. That includes Wood Elves, who are probably still the best team, and let's give them some extra advantages. Why not? At this point, Genie pretty content to not try anything too aggressive. We thought he might do something early, kind of a leap the ball, but Dio is being really careful. So Genie, in response, is just keeping a very strong, solid screen up and punching a man or 2 every turn, and that's all it takes, really. He's had some good luck with removals. He's KO'd 2 of the Wood Elves. So Dio's got a really tough ask to try and break through this strong line here with a 2-man disadvantage. And yeah, the fine gentlemen in the chat are all making the point that I probably didn't get across clearly enough because, like Jim, I'm bad at English. I'm a native English speaker. That's why I'm bad at it. If you're only saving 1 reroll for a 1 turn, that's fine. If you're planning to go ham, you'd hate to have to burn that one there. Because now you have you got to keep 1 for 1 turn, and then you only have 1 left for an aggressive defensive blitz. Yeah, it's still tempting to try and get a second chance at hitting an armor 7 defenseless man and get the reroll spiraling, the removal spiraling. And now he's emptied out a corner of the cage and is going to go pretty heavy, probably basing all these guys. The interesting question is, where does Mr. Base guy go? I think I have liked him probably right there. But that's not available anymore. So he's going to do the next best thing and base the ball with stand firm diving tackle. I mean, that's what you've got this guy for, right? Is to base the ball. And what else are you going to do? There it is. War dancers don't care quite as much. They can just leap away if they have to. But this is pretty hemmed in and not easy for Dio to break out. That's only a lineman. One thing you can try is like a 3+ leap, dodge over here, hand the ball to him, and try and run away. There are high elves pretty slow. They can they have enough people who can maybe get around. Uh-oh, he's failed the dodge. He's double failed the dodge. Looks like his plan was to take the War Dancer and just run away by himself and hope for the best, which isn't bad. This guy could probably have dodged away and helped cover him. Unfortunately, double ones on the dodge. Genie is a Russian coach, I believe. So coming in over from Russia, probably Rubble. He's got an excellent CCL record as well. He's like 68%. We looked at that yesterday. He's in like the top 5%-ish of players by CCL record. Unfortunately, a Dionysian has given him a chance, and he's going to take it. I don't know about scattering the ball there because it's in a great spot already. And if your guys don't catch it, what if it happens to bounce all the way down here? That could be a disaster. Unfortunately, I guess it's worked out all right. If you dodge, pick the ball up, you could even get it to him. Well, that's lineman. This is a catcher. This man can score with GFIs. It doesn't really have to. Genie will probably, at this point, want to score on turn 8. Cut the reroll, to cut the KO rolls down to 1. But he is going to take this man and probably just run away with it. The only guy who can really catch him is the catcher. That's why they call them catchers. But for now, we'll just take some blocks. Having the ball on your wrestle guy, not ideal when he's likely to be facing a uphill block. Well, that's a shame. He'd already used his reroll in the turn, picking the ball up because he rolled 1 there, so I had no choice but to eat the skulls. Yeah, you don't have sure hands, so it's really tempting to try and kick this man while he's down. If you can get rid of him, that makes your own offense a lot easier. It's a very tempting target. Guy cannot reach the ball, but he can get close, and he'll probably try. If you're Dio, probably given up any thoughts of scoring. Your best thing you could possibly do is, of course, sack this guy on some red dice and then go into the halftime scoreless, but realistically, I think what you want is to hope that he has to score early. Get yourself 2 sets of KO rolls and a 1-turn chance. And if you're just going to keep snaking like that, then I don't really know what to tell you. What happened is after about 3 or 4 turns of the two elf teams mostly staring at each other, Genie decided to go all mans and completely crush Dio, and Dio instead, in response, tried to leap and run away. He made the leap and then snaked his dodge and fell down. Genie then picked the ball up, and here we are. He did snake with a War Dancer carrying the ball, double into dodge. That's one I think I'd Appo. You need that thrower back because you need that reroll. The second half. Not really much of a choice there. You may also need him for a potential 1-turn attempt. I think Genie is not going to have an easy stall here. So he's likely to just walk in and score. Let's see. You could take the ball with the catcher and run way down here. You do have these 2 players free. You could mark your one of the War Dancers with "Don't dive away from me, man." I think this is pretty rowdy, but it looks like he might be able to just about cage up. All right, he's got a 3rd player who can get back, and then I don't know. Maybe this guy makes 5 GFIs. Maybe he's just hoping that Dio doesn't know how to cancel assists. Oh no, he's just going to roll a bunch of dice. And with everything working, he's got a nice Venga bus going, so that's not so bad, is it? That's going to be a little frustrating for Dio, but what can you do from here? See, this guy with a couple of GFIs could make it to here. You might have to leap somewhere. Looks like he's just going to red dice leap, and now he's going to roll another 1 instead. So a rotten dice this game for poor Mr. Dionysian. The good news is that he's got another half, and he's still. What else? The other good news is that this is not an elimination game. The winner of this does indeed go straight into the grand final. The loser still has another chance to make it there. So you would, of course, much prefer to win this game. But if you can't, it's not the worst tragedy in the world. And there's Genie blitzing with his ball carrier. It's fine. It doesn't really matter if you're going to fail something on turn 8. But blitzing with wrestle when you have a block man here, that's a little rowdy. Sure, he made it 3 dice, but still, I feel like that was a little chancier than it had to be. Worked out fine. Would else get one of their 2 KOs back, and they will have 10. The high elves have been dominant on the dice, and well, didn't get the lineman back, so they'll only have 10 as well. High elves will be on offense with a touchdown in hand, so Dio's going to have to make something happen, and we'll see how he does it. Yeah, blitzing it all is a little risky, but 3 dice to knock down a War Dancer. Their armor 7. He's already used his Appo. If you, if you can hurt one of these guys, either of them, greatly improves your chances because it cuts down all the options that Dio would have. You know what's coming in the second half is a War Dancer assault, and if they only have 1 War Dancer, that's half the assault. The weather has changed to snow. Looking out the window, my weather has not yet changed to snow, but it's supposed to start any minute now. So the first big snowfall of the season is due to start this afternoon and not stop until midday Tuesday. So I'm looking at probably 1.5 feet of snow, maybe 2 feet. And that's a lot of shoveling that nobody wants to do. So anyone who wants to come over to my house and shovel my driveway multiple times is welcome to do so. Probably you can't make it here because you won't be able to GFI to arrive. Yeah, it's again blitzing with Wrestle. This time he's not carrying the ball, so not as much at stake. It sure would be nice to have more guys with block. Turns out it's an alright skill. And just run straight back. Okay, nobody can reach you from there. But a lot of elves from the Wood Elf Persuasion may find themselves behind your line at the end of this turn, which could be a little scary. Yeah, EAB doesn't do manual labor for me. He's a lazy fucker. What he's doing now, he's actually quite busy. His job for the holiday season is to hold up my Christmas tree. It was more of an Atlas thing, but on a smaller scale. Oh, going after the stand firm, man. And not getting the knockdown. That's not a thing I'd like. I probably would have considered blitzing someone like this guy instead on the far side so that these people here have free reign to move around. Instead, my War Dancer is stuck on Marky Man. Marky Mark and the diving tackle stand firm bunch. So Genie still has to do something about the ball and get it safe, but it shouldn't be that hard. There are a lot of people free to move, and he can just walk straight forward, cage right here if he wants. He'd have to push this catcher somewhere to be perfectly safe. That, or he may even come up here, hand the ball to a catcher. Because throwers, if you're not going to throw, then they're not really that great at hanging on to the ball. Yeah, I understand. That's a high value guy to try and hit if you can, and smack him with Mighty Blow. But it also sucks when it doesn't work and you're stuck there. Genie in return is hit an unskilled lineman with him instead. That's probably fine. Better chance to get rid of him. I don't think I'd have followed though. I'd rather stay on this guy. But I guess if Dio thinks it's good for him to be hitting your guy with Mighty Blow, then it's probably bad for you to be marking him. And you're going to blitz that guy anyway, wrestle him down. This ball's not safe. You need to... Ooh, you still need to do some things. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Got to get a guy here. And you got to make this block. Genie able to do both of those things with no time expiring on his clock. So we gave him a 2-second chance, and he took both of his chances in 0 seconds. Good job. Is this a better square for that lineman? Maybe it is, because making it a little harder to block this guy. We got an immediate leap strip ball coming up. This time things have gone well in the rolling non-ones department. And one die is good enough because strip ball. Sidestep means you can move towards your other elves and one of them will just catch it. He's got an immediate 2 dice with wrestle on that guy as well, but this is the guy who would have to be the assist, and it would be nice to have him available to recover the ball afterwards anyway. So not the best possible result. That's not the best possible block dice. This is good enough. No, it's not, because he's got blodge. So Dio doing his best, but the dice have not been totally cooperative for him. He's a little stuck. Where are these chain pushes going to go? There's a lot of choices. Not totally clear who should go where. Now he's moved the ball carrier back. Square. I know, I feel like it might be a little easier for him to get out and around. But whatever Genie does, he's still got to deal with this War Dancer. He's probably facing the same sack threat next turn. Wrestling him down. It doesn't really get you that far. It does mean you can dodge here, and then come back and dodge again and run back to the right if you so desire. It doesn't look like there's room to run this way. You might want to come over here. You've got a little bit of support on this, with these guys. So if you follow, you cancel both of these assists, so this becomes a 2 dice block. That player is free. That player is free. Genie's stopping. He knows what he's taking, but trying to steal a few extra seconds of thinking time. Where are you going with the ball? You are throwing a pass. Oh, to this catcher, right? Who will then run away. He can't score. He can't really afford to risk GFIs with no reroll in the snow. But who can reach him from there? A lot of people. Burr can tag him. The catcher can get there. Leap guy can probably do something. Strip ball guy, a little bit out of range because he's on the ground. He got wrestled. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this works out, then and you score and you go 2-0 up, I'd hate to be 2-0 up quite this early. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. It's better than 2-0 down, but I feel like that leaves Dio a lot of time. As long as the weather continues to snow, it slows things down just a little bit. Things like 1-turn touchdowns become harder to pull off when you can't GFI and you can't make any possible long passes you might need. So yeah, this was probably a little aggressive, but it wasn't going to be easy to protect the ball anywhere else. So getting it where the elves mostly can't reach him, not the worst thing. I can't really blitz himself free because wrestle. This makes that unappealing. He doesn't have dodge. So a dodge is a little unappealing as well. Some dice are going to happen. They're not hard dice, but they're going to be dice. This man can be the one to blitz. Yeah, he's going to run around here and just take the ball away. Depending where it scatters. Yeah, okay, that's Metza. If it's scattered somewhere like here, then I'll just dot and pick it up and score probably. This makes it a little harder. You've got 5 squares moving. There's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 GFI, GFI. You want to do it that way. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single GFI. That's not so great either. Or you can just, well, now you're going to have to get the ball away from the thrower, who's going to throw a pass because everybody's passing these days. It's the hip thing to do, and suddenly a war dancer has the ball. So it turns out the naked potato, not as effective as Genie was hoping, about as effective as it always is, which is to say, not very. So the Wood Elves have taken the ball away because it was not protected enough. And now they'll be trying to figure out how they can score. Dio is a very long way from his end zone, and of course, Wood Elf's very fast. But High Elf's pretty fast too, and we saw Genie play a really strong defense in the first half. Didn't follow it up with a strong offense, but he did play a really good defense, so maybe that's his specialty, and he'll be able to pull it off again. Yeah, not maybe not world class, but pretty good for the conditions, I would say. And Dio had to make a leap to get out, dodge, and was probably not going to get much better than a potato of the same order as the one we just saw. So, I don't know, I wasn't too upset with it. This is one I'm sure he's thinking about re-rolling. And maybe you have to. It doesn't work out. That's why real war dancers are better than fake ones. Hoping to get the ball out with wrestle, but I mean, does that even do a lot? This guy's not really recovering it. Maybe if it scatters perfectly, this guy's got to go all the way around. And this guy would be on the ground too if it was wrestle. Yeah, I mean, he's built 2 war dancers, except one's a blitzer and the other one's a catcher, and neither of them have the typical war dancer skills anyway, other than leap. I mean, you got blodge leap, and it cost him 2 skills instead of 0 skills. And then we went with guard on this guy, which is all right. And the other leap man does wrestle tackle, but doesn't have strip ball, doesn't have mighty blow, doesn't have the things that Dio's real war dancers have. Strip ball has been super effective throughout the tournament. It's been effective in this game. And mighty blow as well. Mighty blow tackle, pretty strong when you can hit somebody with it and kill them. And that's what Dio's been doing a lot of the time. Still wants to make that block to get that guy out of there. And 1 die is plenty. So tide is swinging all of a sudden. I mean, there's still a useful sweeper sweeping, but not a whole lot else. 2 important players are stuck kind of behind the play a little bit. This guy has got enough movement to get somewhere more relevant than he currently is. Marker Man has been busy marking this lineman, which is not really getting value. And I don't know. At least Genie knows he's playing with house money. He's up by a touchdown. So in the worst case, he's probably just looking at overtime, which, when you're an elf team going into overtime, all you need is win a toss and a couple of simple dice rolls. And you still have a good chance. Ooh, I don't like blitzing up forward with this guy because that takes your sweeper away. He can still run backwards a few squares. But there's a lot of room. This guy is maybe the obvious go forward blitz target, but blodge step, yeah, I don't know. If you don't get him and you're likely to not get him, it doesn't really help you that much. The guy you'd like to blitz with, of course, is the one currently holding the ball, so it's not easy to rearrange things so you can blitz with someone other than your ball carrier, and you hate to have to do that. And these teams both started on 11 at the moment. Dio is on 10 plus a KO. Genie is on 9 plus a KO. And one guy who we just saw got hurt and definitely not coming back. Dio has used his Apo. Genie has not. So still, yeah, we're awfully even on the man department. Wrestle down the catcher, and he's got plenty of guys free, which means he can just come all the way forward here and have himself a cage. And that's what he's going to do. We only got 4 free men, so it may not be a nice Vengabus this time around, but it's still a cage. And he may try and get these guys out eventually to come help out as well. This guy's still stuck here, and I think he's fine with that. I'm just going to 1 dice instead. And the reason for that 1 die is to make the dodge easier for the War Dancer to get in and fill in the bus. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be very difficult to stop a score here. Again, Genie can still do some aggressive leaping. And he may be setting that up right now. Wrestle tackle, it's still a pretty good guy to hit the ball with. Unfortunately, his guard leap man is stuck way back here. I might still be able to make a dodge, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then leap to here without having to GFI, and that gets you a 2 dice blitz if you go from here and then leap to that square and then hit the War Dancer. And 2 dice with wrestle tackle is promising. I'm not going to try it though. I think he's just going to try and base some guys, and there goes your leader. He's no longer necessary though because we've used his reroll, and you don't get another one anymore in overtime. So I guess let's just base everyone and hope. Unfortunately, your best base player is down here working on his Seinfeld slap licks. Completely out of the play. You might have to dodge him over here, even make some GFIs to get in contact or close enough. Instead, he's just going to keep him sweeping. That's fine too. So if nothing else, Dio's got some leaps and dodges to score. You could bring a man to this square, leap to here, and blitz yourself free. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, then you're looking at a GFI. And you also don't really want to give the high elves any time if you can help it. But you also don't want this to happen. Is Dio hoping to screen and get the ball all the way down here? Looks like that might have been the intention, but it's really hard to do now without a reroll. So yeah, I don't know where he's going. You're gonna come up over here somewhere and then throw it to this guy and hope that no other players can reach him. That seems pretty rowdy. Alright, just gonna hope you make all the dodges and cage in the center of the field. That's scary. But that's enough of a screen. I mean, some of these guys can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can still get to the ball. And of course, it's wide open, so you know there's still guys who can leap. But it's pretty safe, and Dio, of course, won't want to score until the last possible moment. Ideally, he won't even want to give Genie a one-turn attempt. So he's going to take some risks to do stuff like this instead. If he wants to score next turn, that's probably not that hard for him. Right, everything Genie does is coming from the side here, so there'll probably be openings for him to run this way. I mean, there may be some dice involved, some dodging, some pushing some people around. You may have to pick the ball up if wrestle tackle does its wrestle tackle thing. He's not even going to try. Probably basing a lot of hope on basing the ball with a stand firm man. Look at that. Once again, not that effective because you can just leap. To get free. This is a good square because it's also basing the guy you might hand off to instead. Right, if these players were in different squares, maybe you could blitz this guy free with a chain, hand him the ball, and let him run free. But as it is, well, it's just a 3+. If nothing else, Dio's always got that 1 in 9 to score. Still not too bad to force him to do it. Maybe it cost him his last reroll going into overtime. What is the fame situation looking like? +2 to Dionysian. He brought all the fans to the yard today. One turn for the high elves still, still feasible. I mean, it's hard in a blizzard. What elves have 9? And the high elves have 9. So you're looking at 9 or 10 guys. That's more than enough. Not easy to do in 1 minute. Not easy to do in a blizzard. Dio is probably looking around to see if there's a way he can just chain this guy even backwards a square. Some kind of a blitz like on this guy. This doesn't do it. But yeah, a block like here to push this guy here into here. You're still close enough to score. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8 if you have to. It may still be possible. No, he's just going to leave and walk in instead. So not as beautiful as it could be, but certainly effective. Wood Elves get their KO back, and High Elves do not. So Wood Elves will have a one-man advantage. And the High Elves have to show off their one-turning skills. Let's see what you got. Plenty of move 8. You got a sidestep man. The biggest two obstacles, of course, as we mentioned, are the snow and the time limit. But if I was High Elves here, I'd have to maybe not love my chances, but I would think I had a decent shot at it. And Dio is certainly respecting it. Looks like he's going to set up a big shallow net, make it hard to get the pushes, rather than a back line, make it hard to get the dodges. In the snow, it's maybe not even so bad to just backline and force you to roll the extra dodges up here as well as the 3+, but I guess it's also possible to try and score with one of your catchers that can leap. So backline really awful against leap. One sidestep man on the line of scrimmage. You can't use him to push. The other two guys are just unskilled linemen. It's probably some kind of hole method at this guy. This is a well-placed tackle as well, right? Because the natural thing to do is push this guy here, have your scoring threat here, and then you're kind of pushing this way. You're going to have to go through tackle. A quick snap certainly helps your chances. We saw that in Rebel. Those of you who are watching Wolfbark play SAS in the Rebel playoffs earlier today saw that when you've got movement 9 and a quick snap, one turn, not that far out of reach. That's a beautiful kick, though. If that stays in the end zone, then it becomes really difficult because you've got a thrower, but you got to move like 4 or 5 squares back to pick it up, and then 1 forward. And you can't throw a really long pass in the snow. So if the kick stays in bounds, this may just become impossible. He's brought this catcher back, hoping that he may have to do a max range pass to him and then a handoff. What's the max you can do? Only quick or short passes. So yeah, I don't think he can reach this guy either. Short passes like 6 or 6.5 squares ish. So 1, 2, 5, pick the ball up. 6, 2, 3+ GFIs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's just maybe barely possible. It doesn't matter because he got the touchback. And suddenly it goes from almost impossible, maybe completely impossible, to not even that hard. Oh, I got a POW in the first roll, though. That's when I'd be tempted to re-roll. Yeah, and he does. Right? Because he only needs 1 more push after this. How's he going to do it? He needs to fill this square. So he's got to roll some dice. You take a leap man and leap into that square. That might be the best way to fill it. And then this block pushes him to here, him to there. And then you got to make a dodge into 3+ GFIs. Or you can block them out of the way. That's even smarter. What am I thinking? I just see, you got leap. You got to use it. But no, you really don't. Remember, this is Genie's offense. So even if this works, Dionysian will get a 1-turn chance of his own. And he easily makes both 3+ GFIs and scores a 1-turn. Not bad. All right, Dio, your turn to try. In a way, it's a little easier for Dionysian because now he's got no choice but to 1-turn. So he doesn't have to think about things like an early failure. Do I save my reroll? No, you just got to use it. You're going to have Stand Firm and a Sidestep Man, both on the line of scrimmage. So there's really only one guy you can reasonably push around. And it's not going to be easy to get to him. You may have to do a thing like War Dance or Leap into somewhere here or here to get a push, which is probably going to be red dice, just to start things off. So this is not easy for Dio. But yeah, he's going to pull this man down to here. And then, oh no, maybe not. Doesn't even need to hole. He can push this guy here into this man, into here, into a sidestep there. Then he's got to block this way. Then, let's see. That'll be one of the pushes he needs. This is move 8 plus sprint. You hate to have to make 3 GFIs, so you'd like to get extra pushes if you can, but you technically only need 2. One of them comes from there, and the second one comes from there. And if you have more, you can do them. Got more guys around. And you got an extra reroll. That'll come in handy if he does manage to force overtime. This kick is a little easier to deal with. He's still got to get way over there, and he might have to throw a pass. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He can get over to about here and do a handoff and then a short pass, but he might just throw the pass all the way over to his guy. Yeah, I think you got to start with red dice. And those are not the red dice you needed. Neither of those 3 skulls on 4 dice, not good enough. Commiserations, Dio, you were unable to do your 1-turn in response. I think, I'm sure you would have been able to with better dice, but this time it didn't work out for him.